Hey fans, this is Kimberly and Conor Treacy here from Big Red SEO. How are you doing today? How are you doing today? Doing good? Hopefully you're doing good.
Yep.
Well, hey, we wanted to touch base for our weekly recap episode. Today we've got some really exciting news to help businesses just in general with your SEO organic presence, as well as some kind of like website design tips for if you're a DIYer, how to be able to clean up specific areas. And then I think you have some updates and some information to share about the search engine world and kind of what's going on and how it's going on.
Yeah. Hit your button over there.
Yeah, but before we start there, let's go ahead and touch base real quick. How is your week?
Excellent.
Oh, you're saying that a little too exciting. It's a little too exciting. What was the best thing that was about your week?
My week was awesome.
Yeah, like how? Like how was it awesome? You don't usually use that adjective. That's usually my word.
I know. I don't really have an answer as to why. Maybe it's because nothing.
Could it be the weather?
No, nothing actually went crazily wrong.
Oh, it's been quiet in the SEO world a little.
So maybe from that angle, everything was good. No, the week in general has been really good.
That's cool.
No complaints from my end. Work-wise, fine. SEO world, fine. Video stuff. Now, yeah, we're a little bit late.
It's cool.
We're a little late coming on right now just because we have actually.
We were on a call. We were on a call that ran over.
We were on a
really good call with a client that we absolutely
have 3
love.
laptops open. Yeah. We have 2 more video cameras up here.
It's like, I think it's just the ebb and flow of going. My question is this week a good week because you shaved?
I did shave.
You shaved on Monday, which is super smooth. I don't know if you guys can notice. Those that know Conor Treacy, he usually likes to have it a little rough and
a little
rough.
bit.
Yeah.
So I'm trying the shave every 2-day thing. So
yeah.
We'll see what that does.
I think for me, the week went really, really great because here in Omaha, Nebraska, we're kind of experiencing some summer weather and then some fall weather. And so it's kind of like a sprinkle of both. But what I can tell you is you can feel the seasons coming and changing, which is super cool. And a lot of the kiddos are back to school, which ironically, there's like this transition for businesses that are either they're doing marketing themselves or they have somebody in marketing or they're just wanting to learn marketing. Now's the time that they ramp up for it. So it's kind of cool seeing the kids go back to school and then the businesses are wanting to learn more about their business and how to be able to do marketing tips and tricks and all that jazz. So that was kind of like my week, is like just knowing a new season's coming and then there's different opportunities coming and so forth. So my week's been pretty awesome as well. Hopefully all of you guys are having an awesome week. So let's go ahead and dive in. I know that you've got a couple different informations for updates for businesses. So how about you take the floor and tell us what's going on?
Number one, the big update came on Tuesday from Adobe. So Adobe updated, I think, 8 different softwares with 11 or 19 patches. Maybe I got those numbers wrong. Maybe it was 11 softwares with 8 patches. Either way, Adobe made some updates to software, everything from Adobe Reader to the Adobe Cloud interface, the little app that you have on your computer. Photoshop got an update and all that. But the big thing was they finally fixed an exploit inside of Flash.
Okay.
So I know who has Flash in their computer. A lot of people do.
Some people.
We do.
Depending on what device they're using too, and how old their computer is.
Yeah. Some of the auditing software I use for the SEO actually operates better with Flash. So I utilize that for some of our scans. So anyway, they made a big update. It came out on Tuesday. They make an update every month. But this was a big update.
This one was huge because it was actually compromised. Like you could get compromised. So Conor immediately sends me a message and says, update your Adobe now. And I'm like, well, on my new laptop, it doesn't have Adobe. He was like, I don't care. Update the old one too. So yeah, just make sure that you get that updated. I mean, I think updating software ongoing is pretty important just across the board. Like you just never know what's going to happen or where. So why not be proactive about it and just click update? I mean, worst case, what happens? You take 15-minute walk while your computer updates. That might actually be a good thing.
If you think that's the worst thing that could happen after you click update on a button,
I'm an optimism. I'm an optimist. What else?
Make a backup before you do an update.
How about the search engines in general? Like what's going on within the world of internet marketing and so forth?
So there was an update, and we talked about it last week and the week before. It's now been dubbed as the Medic update. So it was like April 1st, April 2nd.
April 1st. April
Not
Fool's Day?
April.
April
Jesus.
1st?
What are we? We're in
I'm like,
August.
is it really an update if it was on April 1st? I mean, I would be questioning it. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's August 1st, August 2nd is when the update happened.
April was a long time ago.
Not in my world. But basically, it was a core update that Google made, and a lot of websites had ups and downs as a result. And then about 2 weeks later, so earlier this week or the end of last week, Barry Schwartz, he runs SEO, SEO Roundtable, sorry. But basically, they named it the Medic Update. And the reason behind it was that a lot of the people that were reporting issues were in the medical world, whether it was dentists, chiropractors, or actual hospitals. They saw their rankings go up and down. So the theory was that everything has been thrown against the medics. That being said, there's enough people in other industries that have also seen updates, up good and bad. So so anyway, it was dubbed the Medic Update. There's still information coming out on it, but basically the new stuff or the new information everybody has on it, it's a repeat of the 2011 Panda update.
I have a question. I'm dying to ask.
Oh, great.
So when you say dubbed, does that mean like somebody in the world gave the name, or was it from Google?
No, Google, here's the crazy thing about all the search engine algorithms. Panda, Penguin, Pigeon, all of those. Google never named them.
Okay, so here's my question. Like, why all of a sudden is it medical when it's all animals before? It was pretty much all animals. Panda, penguin, pigeon, hummingbird, farmer. But I'm like, why all of a sudden medic? I get that it's like they're thinking it's going after the medical industry.
We had the Fred update. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was a while back too. Yeah,
so
I like Fred.
The reason that they dubbed it, and it was,
I actually like it, just for the record, I like all the updates Google makes because I'm just going to toot my own horn. We follow all the guidelines with Google to the best of our ability. So whenever Google updates come out, we actually get really excited because they're going through and cleaning all the records. They're cleaning basically the website, they're cleaning up the internet in general from people that have kind of like manipulated or thrown crap out there or just did things just like the shortcut way, which we don't really believe in. So I get super excited, and then I get themes, right? So when the pigeon came out, I went and got like pigeon jump drives and the hummingbirds and all that stuff. But I don't know what I'm going to do for the medic. Should I go get a doctor's outfit?
Well, here's the thing. Even though it was named Medic.
Yeah. Did you just now get my suggestion?
No, I got it. You just continue to stare at me.
You just I keep talking.
But even though it was named Medic, the fact of the matter is that the update didn't affect just the medical world.
Right, true. Like rarely even if something's classified as one industry, rarely does it just affect one industry.
Right.
I don't think that search engine, specifically Google, is focused on one industry. I think it's across the board all around. Yeah.
So going back to my previous statement, it was named, or it is the Medic Update, but basically the thought in the industry at this point is that it was a repeat or an update of the Panda algorithm from 2011. And that basically went through and scrubbed websites. Figured out, people using thin content, so not enough content on a page. All of that kind of stuff is all kind of kicked into gear. So
well, and the other thing too with this update, like if it's like a repeat of the last one, basically if anybody went in and cleaned up their act within that time process, they could actually get into the good graces of search engines, specifically as Google, versus bad. Like we do a lot of business in what we call disaster recovery. So like a business owner will have somebody else in the marketing world do SEO from them, and unfortunately they do some of the naughty stuff, and or people in general go out and try to learn it themselves, and they wind up performing the naughty stuff. So they wind up getting a hit basically from Google. There's not really good or bad. There's bonus points or there's no points at all. That's the easiest way to explain it. And then so people would do these techniques where they weren't getting bonus points specifically, which they would see as themselves as being penalized essentially. So we would go in and clean them up. So a lot of them now, I think we have like several clients 2 to 3 years ago that we've been working through this entire part. They're finally getting back to where they were at the very beginning before they actually got what they form as penalized, if that makes sense.
All I can think of when you're talking about bonus points and removal, the only thing I can think of, no, there was it's a Chris Rock's routine back from early 2000, whatever it was. And the catchphrase out of it, everybody probably knows it. What the fuck? You want a cookie? So,
oh,
but basically, it was somebody.
I feel like you need that on a t-shirt.
Well, it's out there. But basically, you're already doing all the things you're supposed to do, so you're not going to get a reward for doing what you should. Yeah. So all the things that Google is talking about, all the things we're talking about, is stuff that is in the guidelines that you should follow all these things
all the time. Yeah.
And as long as you don't color outside the lines, when Google rolls out the update, it's not a big deal. Yeah. So that's the big thing that's kind of happened. Cool. That update was in there. There's some new releases, new reports that have come out this week with regards to citations.
Right.
Bright Local did an awesome report, a big report dealing with the NAP and citations. Mm-hmm. We'll be covering segments of that within our blog. LSA did a big audit and a big report also dealing with the local industry, and so did Yelp. Yelp did one in conjunction with Alexa regarding the voice search and how that's changing the industry.
Right.
So there were a couple of big reports, some white paper stuff to come out. So lots of changes like that.
A lot of reading for you. A lot of reading and research and blog articles. And
a lot of staying up until 11 o'clock on my phone outside with a cigar saying.
But that's like the perfect, that's the time that you like to read.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like one of those things. Different people have their different things that they do, and that's your deal.
Yep. So I got one other thing, or two other things, interesting, just one that was kind of crazy thought process to me. Microsoft is building underwater data centers. Now, it sounds completely asinine to do it, but basically they're putting these servers inside of containers and then sinking it in the ocean. The theory behind it, and of course they've proven it, otherwise you wouldn't just take $1 million and throw it in the water. I mean, that's something for someone else to do. But basically the ocean, because it's got a lower temperature, is going to keep everything cooler. So it's an easier heat exchange from that end. The other was that, and they gave the numbers, and I don't know the stats, but it was something like 80% of all people in the world live next to an ocean.
Yeah.
So it's easier, rather than trying to acquire land and then build a building on there and do all of that, you just drop it off in the ocean 2 miles off the coast, and off you go.
Drop what off?
A container.
Of your stuff.
No, the server, the data center.
I'm so confused. Okay, like, what does that have to do with people living on the coast?
So picture.
I don't know if anybody else got confused.
Picture a tractor trailer, right?
Yeah,
so
I get that. Trucks, and I get the pods.
And you've got a container, and all the servers are inside.
But why are they putting them underwater? Because the temperature.
The temperature will keep it cold.
Okay.
And they put it in the water because most people live next to the ocean, live next to the water. So you don't have to go buy expensive land. Look at LA, for example. If you were to open up a data center in LA.
Okay, so you're talking about the company. Got it. I'm back on the same page. I was so confused. I was like,
is Kim the only one that was off track?
What about the little fishies? And like, we're going into the fishies little space.
So what about the little fish? Here's an interesting thing. Do a search online for Microsoft Underwater Data Center. They have 2 live cams that are set up underwater
and you see the
to watch the data center, which is a container, and you can see all the fish swimming around. So if you get bored, load up. That's an awesome live cam. I've hit it up a couple times. I've hit that up a couple times. So that was one big thing that's come out. The other thing, we were working with your laptop. Oh, I know. I find weird shit. We were working with your laptop, and of course, you needed to modify a file.
Yes.
And you don't have Photoshop installed on that computer. And you asked me, what's the alternative? What do I do? Now, normally, me and other people in the industry would all say GIMP or use all these other different systems. But one that I found, and I thought was really
really easy to use.
Really awesome. It looks just like Photoshop.
Yeah.
And it's called PhotoPea. PHOTO. PEA.
Like, he actually had to
look back over.
Is it PEA or PEA?
So photopea.com. Basically, if you're familiar with Photoshop in any way, it looks just like it. You can upload a PSD file. You can upload an AI file, a TFF, an EFS, any file, or EPS, sorry. Yeah. Any file that you want to upload, you can put it up there. It'll retain all of the layers, all of your, your stuff that's in there.
It was really easy.
The only thing that it didn't do, at least from my end, with regards to customized fonts. So if you have a PSD file with a lot of custom fonts, that's not going to load. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
But for what it was,
it's
and
a
the
great
layers,
editor. Like, we get asked all the time, like, people, we have a big stipulation on, we want to make sure that the images are optimized for websites. So we like tell people, hey, don't make your images any bigger than 1200 pixels by 1200 pixels. And then there's the actual like meta, or I don't know if that's the right terminology, the size of the file, not just the size of the image, but the size of the file. And we tell them to get within a certain guideline. And usually they always ask, well, where can I go to resize them? Photoshop, or not Photoshop, like Paint, you could resize, but it doesn't like shrink down the actual image, if that makes sense. Meaning the size of the image shrinks down, but what is the thing called?
The file size.
The file size doesn't shrink down. It actually gets bigger when you use Paint. So different resources like this are actually like really good. Free, affordable, I don't know what word is that you want to use.
This particular one is actually free. They do have a membership platform.
Sure.
I couldn't, just by glancing at it, I couldn't see what the benefit was of paying. Other than you're supporting the developers.
Or maybe you get custom fonts. Either way, the point is this is like a free resizer, if that makes sense, as well as people can optimize images.
It is straight Photoshop. Now, if you're just doing optimization of images, tiny PNG and tiny JPG are pretty awesome. And you can upload your image and it'll optimize it, meaning it'll reduce the file size.
Sure.
It's going to make the image blurry, so you need to adjust. You know, if it was at 100%, you bring it down to 90%, it probably still looks okay. You bring that down to 50% and it's going to look bad.
Right.
So it's optimization, it's all visual.
Like, Conor will go through and he'll actually shrink down the file size, and I'll come to him and be like, hey, you can't use that image, it's a little fuzzy. And from him, he actually doesn't see it being fuzzy, but me, my attention to detail is so on point, I can actually tell when it's a little fuzzy. So we just adjust and fix it.
Both from the fuzziness or blurriness of images, colors is another thing we disagree on. Only because
a little.
Sometimes. So the issue being that your monitor is adjusted for one set of colors, mine is adjusted for a different style.
And some days I just have a tired day and I call something purple and it's orange. So it has nothing to do with the file
you were showing me
or the computer.
Was it eyeliner last night?
I'm also
like, look at this purple eyeliner. I'm looking at it, it's brown. It is brown. There's no.
But it's like normal, because one time I called a peach an orange and an orange a peach, and so it just happens. Like it happens. Some days you have those days. So
what do you got?
One thing I wanted to dive into is we actually, within our business, we kind of do a couple different things. We perform services fully for everybody, but then also we have a lot of people that do DIY. They just enjoy diving into, whether it's designing their own website or doing their own SEO, growing their online presence just in general. They just enjoy and they like it. And so we actually offer a lot of mentoring and coaching and consulting to help them stay within the lane that they need to stay in and just kind of get the results that they need. But upon me reflecting over the last 30 days on what resources could we help and what have we seen over the last 8 years, there's a couple techniques that I want to share today, because what happens is when people design their own websites, and we even see some freelancers do this as well as agencies, they'll utilize a theme or a template. There's nothing wrong with that. We do that a lot in-house as well.
I've been guilty of it, even my own personal website is a template.
But the thing is what happens is they utilize this theme and this template to save time, and they go and import and plug in all the information, and everything's great. They get their website up and live, and everything looks wonderful. However, what they don't do is they do not go in and remove the staged pages or remove the staged content, remove the staged images, if that makes sense. They don't go in and clean up after they've built, if that makes sense. So one thing to make you guys very aware, if you do this, whether you're an individual, a business, or a freelancer, if you leave that stuff live on your website, the search engines are gonna find it. It's actually indexed content already from the theme provider, right? So at the end of the day, the theme provider will get credit for that content because it's classified as duplicate content. So it's a very common term in the SEO world. But more importantly, what happens is, say you create customized content inside of your website about your services, and 60% of your website design is staged content from the template and theme, you're actually diluting your own content, and search engines like Google are going to get confused and be like, what are they standing for? Are they standing for staged text from a template that's about nutrition, or are they actually a lawyer in the Omaha area providing legal services?
And from that, with that staged content, while it is duplicate content,
right,
look at it from the eyes of Google. that it's stolen content.
Yes.
You have stolen the content from somebody else. Now, the other bad thing is that same practice of not updating that theme has probably been performed by another 100, 1,000 people, whatever
and
it is.
It depends on how many people purchase that theme or template, right?
Just gets out of control.
But the thing is like, it's really important that when you start a project, you start the project, you complete the project, but then go back and clean up the project, right? So prime example, like say your theme or template has like 300 images installed by default. We've seen them that big before. So they build this template for 50 industries, and then they provide stage stock images for all the industries. And then that individual company doesn't go in and clean those up. Their company is actually indexed for those images, right? So like if you're a car repair person, you're not going to want to have dresses indexed for your company, right? Or flowers or stuff that just doesn't make sense. So it's not only from a ranking perspective, but it's just about making sure that you remove what's no longer relevant in whatever theme or template that's there, right? We see it happen a lot. We recommend you utilizing your own images if you can actually have them internally taken. It adds personalization. If you do stock images, that's okay. There's a lot of designers and marketing people out there that are like, no, don't ever do stock. It's like frowned upon. At the end of the day, you might only have so much time, and you might not be able to find an image internally that represents exactly what you need. So still like figure out for your business what's there. But the point is that if you still have the stock images inside your website, we still recommend you downloading them yourselves and then naming the file something that's relevant to what is actually shown in the picture, right? So a lot of times they'll do like image 6694G. That doesn't make any sense to anybody. So if you have somebody that's like visually impaired that's using a listening device, right? They might not know what that image is. And in search engines, Google specifically, will go and scrape the image and the image title and the image file name and all that stuff to try and represent what that image is to somebody that's searching. So there's multiple different layers within if you're doing a DIY website design yourself. Just make sure that you clean up the areas in the spaces, right? It's just something that we see a lot that I think a lot of people they forget about.
And in addition to that, not just during the setup of a new website, but when you're converting an old website to a new one. So there are times when you're converting that maybe code used to work on the old website. It doesn't work on the new one. Maybe you don't have a plugin. Maybe you were using Visual Composer, and now you're using Beaver Builder, and they're different. So just watch when you're going from one theme to another. Just watch what's in there.
And the other thing too is like think about with your new design layout, maybe the images need to be put in a different spot than the old layout, right? Like it might be that you need to switch out your images completely, or you might just need to move your images around. Maybe your image in your old design was super tiny. In the new design, it needs to be bigger. Don't stretch that image and make it fuzzy. Go find another image that actually will fit within that area. So it's just a couple different things to like think about. As far as free images, like there's multiple different resources out there, so feel free to go out there. We personally have a subscription with stock photos. It's just something that's easy and nice for us, and it's clean representation, but we always give the clients the option, do they want to keep the images or do they want to switch it out themselves?
And we work with photographers and recommend different people and so forth. Anytime you can do your own image is probably a good thing. But certainly doing that rather than grabbing a picture from 5 years ago and using that or scanning it in. Do people scan pictures
I don't know
anymore?
I don't know. I think people do all different stuff. It depends on the age bracket, right? Like I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, anything else you have to share?
Big news from Google. Hey, here we are talking about Google again. So they had it in beta a couple months ago, and it was called Google One. So we're all familiar with Dropbox, and we're all familiar with Microsoft OneDrive, and now there's Google One, which is also like Google OneDrive. But anyway, storage thing, you can store everything online. Their new pricing rolled out. You can get 2 terabytes of storage for $10 a month.
Gotcha.
That is an insane amount of storage. It's something I'll definitely be taking advantage of.
Right. Because you have a lot of stuff.
Well, here's the thing. Like the videos. Every time we do a video, we store a copy. So like this video, let's say it's 30 minutes. It's going to be 1.5 gigs of just
a lot.
The video.
Yeah.
That's before we do any editing and before we do anything else.
Which you've been kind of geeking out a little bit on.
I have been.
Yeah,
I have got my 4K.
He likes his little videos. We have multiple little things that recording us right now.
So, but yeah, check out the Google Drive or Google One. And that's going to help you with some more storage. They're doing a lot of stuff to try and bring everything back together as one central system.
Well, and I think like just in general, like sometimes people just get confused on what software they're using, where is it at, what are your username and passcodes and all that stuff. So it just makes sense that everybody's bringing it back in together as one, as a resource. Because as a business owner, like sometimes it can get like, where is this and where is that? What do I own and what do I owe and so forth. So
I keep threatening that I'm going to move to a Google Chromebook only. But Microsoft continues to suck me back in for Excel. It's powerful. It's better than Google Sheets.
Love Excel.
With regards to the.
Conor loves Excel. He loves customizing the fuck out of Excel.
Now you can
That's the easiest way to say it. He gets so geeked out on Excel.
You can do a lot.
It makes me go cross-eyed
on Sheets. You can do a lot of stuff on Sheets, but there's definitely some stuff that Excel does better. Yeah. Same thing with Word. Word does better sometimes. Yeah. But Google Docs.
I rock Canva. Conor rocks Excel.
Yeah.
I'm like visual move stuff around. He's like, no, do it in Photoshop so you have the master file. I'm like, I don't need the master file. I'll just make another one.
Yeah. But
anyway.
So there's the big things I had going on. It's not crazy stuff happening I said, this week it's been a good week. We've been doing some audits and stuff like that. Certainly some new stuff happening with Google, their changes. But there hasn't been anything critically over the top. Let me double check my phone.
So the other thing too is I want to just say, if you create content for your website in a form of a blog article, make sure that you're cross-sharing that content onto your social media platforms. It's one of the areas that we see the biggest disconnect for a lot of times businesses. When they look at marketing, they see social media as separate as pay-per-click, as separate as SEO. Granted, they are different silos, but it's important from an end user perspective and you just serving your clientele that you actually share the information to your specific blog or your blog article. Another little cool technique that we help people with social media in general with is if you create blog content, go into that article and get like sentences, snippets, and then share those in your actual social media as well. You've already spent the time of creating and producing the content, so figure out how to repurpose them, whether it's creating customized images or it's just putting straight text in. It's something that people kind of miss out on that actually can help really, really well. And since you already have it, you might as well do it.
And there's a couple different plugins. If you're using WordPress or Drupal or Medium or anything like that, there are plugins that you can highlight a certain amount of text and then add in the button, click to tweet. So that way then your users just click that button, it'll automatically go out onto social media. So super picking out those little things. I had a couple of things on my phone that I did bookmark just to cover real quick, and I completely spaced it. So it's Friday. On Sunday, Google came out with some updates to their Search Console. There's now a mobile usability report.
Maybe we'll do a mini series on that.
Probably. So we're going to scan through there. It's got some new features there. Microsoft's underwater data center. I did make a note for that.
He took notes, guys.
I did. I got so much stuff.
He shaved earlier this week and he took notes. I don't know what to do.
Here, that big one this morning. Google announced that they are opening up a Google store. So it'll go up against Apple, just like Apple has all of their stores.
Interesting. Now, a little bit of competition.
Yeah.
You know what's cool that
they're
I found?
Opening up in downtown Chicago. I don't know why they're doing that.
You know what I found? It was like 45 minutes ago, which I was super excited. Office Depot has launched their pilot of co-working space.
I saw that.
I thought that was pretty cool. Like you could get your supplies, you can work, you can print stuff off yourself. Like the whole data center is like access to you. That's kind of cool.
The images that they put up for the co-working space and their offices
it's gorgeous.
Pretty amazing.
They have like 3 locations now. I think it's going to be 141 locations in the next 30-ish, 45 days.
Wow.
And then Staples actually has 1 co-working space right now that they're test piloting specifically. But it's kind of cool watching all these like little.
So the Staples one, when I looked at it, it looked like walking into Whole Foods.
Yes, it was like Staples was actually there's like a food section in the Staples area, so you can have an office or you can grab food or lunch or whatever. So it's kind of cool seeing all that stuff like activate and kind of.
You know, the co-working space has really kicked off in the last couple of years. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it. I know you enjoy it.
I like connecting with people or just working around other creators.
Yeah, if I'm working, I don't want to be bothered by somebody else. But that
besides
being said,
me, I bother him all the time.
I do need to be a
little
little
more. I have a question, or I ping him in Messenger. Yeah. But that's the right I get as being his boss.
I definitely do need to be more open to people being around me or whatever. But
you are if there's cigar and whiskey. So that's
sure. Yeah.
That's the key hint. Maybe that's it. It's a cigar bar.
So that's all I've got. How about you? Anything else you've got?
No, that's it. We've got some exciting stuff coming down the pipe next week. We've kind of like restructured our social media and how to be able to help business owners with marketing and so forth. So we'll definitely do a video on the search engine console to kind of help with that, as well as a couple other things.
I have one thing.
Yeah.
Next week, we're putting out our newsletter again.
Yes.
So definitely jump onto our newsletter. Either send a PM here or go to bigredseo.com. And there's a section in there for the newsletter.
Yeah.
But we got some new stuff coming out here for next week.
We're pretty excited. We've been working really hard. So I get super excited about this.
You'll get the sneak peek to everything by doing the newsletter. So,
cool.
So that's there.
Awesome.
Anything else?
No, that's it. I'm going to have a great relaxing weekend of finishing up our new website design.
Got a new website? Yep.
So that's pretty cool. And so that's what I'm excited about. But I can't tell anybody anything until it's done. So
now that we put it out on Facebook Live. But hey, it's only for those that have made it to the end of the video.
End of the video. They know it. They know it. So anyway. Okay, cool. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you next Friday at 2:30. But in the meantime, have a great weekend and we'll talk soon. Bye.